Hi, folks. We're back.
Hi there. Jimmy here, Larry's sidekick. Make sure out there, or you viewing audience, whenever you like something, hit like, subscribe, and always ring the bell, and you'll find out about the upcoming episodes with Larry and I. Larry, it's your floor.
I have a bit of a mob story today for all you mob guys out there. I was never going to tell this story, but I got a phone call about 2 weeks ago from Danny Lamago's wife, Betty, and she told me, we were talking, and she's about 95 now. She's in real good shape. Danny passed away a few years back. And we started talking about her daughter and the party that we were at one day. And Brother Moscato's name came up. And she reminded me of a couple of things and mentioned that Brother's son, Philip, was going to write a book about Brother Moscato's life, about his father's life, and where Jimmy Hoffa is buried. Now I know halfies are going to turn the station because nobody really knows where he's buried. But I have to tell you,
Well, he's in the yellow pages under cement. Is that it? Sorry, folks.
This happens. You know, I never mentioned it because there's been 2 or 3 people out there from the beginning trying to find him. They dug up 4 or 5 places already.
A lot of places.
They and everybody.
Yeah, the son was getting publicity with this, but he couldn't
I brought
produce
him
it.
there. Years ago in 2019, I met with Philip, and I told Philip of my meeting with his father. And I said, listen, you got it firsthand and I got it firsthand. I'm involved with Sony Pictures and Village Roadshow. If you want, I'll put you with them and you could make your own deal with them. Create a movie, a documentary, do whatever you want to do. But I know, and I don't talk about it because people just say you're nuts. You know, one of them, you're crazy. Nobody knows where he is. Some people he's in the middle of the ocean. Some people say he got burnt in a crematory, and it's all over the place. But anyway, I know what Brother told me. Now, let me tell you how I met Brother. In 1957, I first met him. I was working for my cousin Pete in Maspet, Mid-State Spectre. That's when I was robbing. I did a podcast about that. I was robbing all the trailer truck tires. That's when I robbed the 3 trailer loads of Cuddy Sock whiskey. But I was also robbing 2 tires a night, 2 of them big trailer truck tires. And I was putting them in the garage. I used to park my stock car outside, cover it, and I must have had 100 of them big tires. And John Gotti couldn't get rid of them fast enough, and Brother Moscato had an out for them, and that's when I first met him. And Brother owned everything that was involved with construction and demolition, and he owned maybe 20 or 30 restaurants through the years. Many of them I was in. And he had a daughter. He was married. His first wife was a good friend of mine, Babe. And they adopted a little girl. Her name was Kathy. And after they separated, Brother asked me if I would see if I could help her out. She was heavy into drugs, and she was doing a lot of bad stuff. And I got a hold of her and we talked, and I told her whenever you just call me anytime. She, many times, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I had to go get her, and the bottom line was, the bottom line was today she's straight, she's a good girl, but it was a tough long ride, and because of that, me and brother became we became pretty close, and one day in Florida, we had a place in Florida. I think the name of the place was Bootsy's. I'm almost positive it was Bootsy's, and he used to get drunk a lot. Tough guy. I believe he was part of Genevieve's crew.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, because he had a part of a plating company, and when I ran the laborers union, I had to go see somebody that had the plating company, but he stepped in, and there was like 4 or 5 of them waiting for me there. But they found out once they knew it was me and who my dad was, there was a different story. Then they knew I was there legitimately. I had a legitimate beef, and it was all straightened out.
Well,
But if I wasn't legit, if I wasn't who I was,
you would have stayed
I would
right there.
I would have been in trouble that day.
You would have stayed right there. Anyway, meaning the PJP landfill. It was in Secaucus, underneath that right by the Hackensack River, underneath that, over whatever they call that. Anyway, when we were there in Florida, he'd get drunk, and sometimes he'd talk a little bit too much, and he said a lot of things that he shouldn't have said. But he knew me and he trusted me, and he said a lot of things, and I kept it to myself. But I mean, the whole world knew, the mob world knew that if you had to get rid of anything at all, whether it be a bobby pin or anything, you just go see brother at the landfill, and it would just disappear. So the whole world knew that, and he was a heavyweight guy. He was a heavyweight guy in his own right. So anyway, years later, Betty's daughter, the woman, Danny Lamego's wife, her daughter had a pool party, and it was around that 2012, I think it was, and everybody was there, and brother was there, and after 4 or 5 hours by the pool drinking, I don't drink, and gets a hold of me. He says, "Come on, let's go outside." So we went around to the front of the house, lounge chairs, so he could smoke a cigar. And he had a little bit too much to drink, and he started talking. And he told me he was in bad shape. He had that neck problem.
Yeah.
He told me how he got that. I forgot.
He couldn't move his neck. Look,
I know.
He would stand stiff, and if he had to turn to the left or right, his whole body would have to turn along with it.
I know. I remember.
Yeah.
It was a motorcycle accident he had years and years ago. It was a motorcycle accident. Yeah, I wish I could remember these things, but I'm almost positive it was a motorcycle accident. And he walked around, he got worse and worse, and in a lot of pain and everything. And he was on the downslide then.
No, he still had his pull, but he was not as physically, because of his ailment. It held him back a little bit.
Anyway, he told me a couple of things. Again, similar to what he told me at the club years ago in Bootsy's. And that's when I got a hold of his son. And I says, this is what your father told me. And he's your father, and I need to meet with you. because this is like one of the biggest mysteries in the world. Where is Jimmy Hoffa? Some people say he's in some foundation or some hotels, and it's all over the place. I really believe, and right today, right now, there's a guy, I think his name is Medea, something like that. He's an investigative reporter. He's been investigating this, and I believe right now, after he exhausted every lead, everything, working with the FBI and everything else, he believes, he knows, and the FBI knows that he was killed where he was killed, but he was brought back to New Jersey in a truck, in a 55-gallon drum, in a truck, and brought to Brother Moscato's dump. Now, Philip, I met with him. He lives in Florida. And I put him with Village Roadshow. I put him with Paul Bernard, who's with Sony Pictures. And they were making their own deal and everything. And the bottom line is, for sure, and I know people are going to call me nuts, but I got this firsthand from Brother Moscato and his son. Now, according to his son Philip, Brother told him about this on his deathbed, as he was dying. Now, after all of these everybody's saying, why would they kill him over there and then ship him across the country to here and everything? I'm telling you, his body is in a 55-gallon drum at Brother Moscato's landfill. Now, I don't know how far they went with this, because that's Philip's now. That's Philip's deal. And I think he's looking for a writer to write the book, and I think he's going to do some kind of thing with Fox News about it. But that's where he is. Now, I think there's maybe 80 or 90 acres there, and I believe Philip, I don't know. All I know is that he's there because of Brother. Now, but Philip knows, the son. Brother has no reason to lie to me, and he has no reason to make any of this up. For what reason? I mean,
right.
So I really believe that. So for all you guys that like the mob stuff, Brother was a real deal. He was with the Genovese crew. He stayed in Jersey most of the time. He owned 30 or 40 nightclubs in his lifetime. I was in probably all of them. He was a good guy. His daughter, Kathy, the one he adopted with his first wife, she's alive and well and clean. And I believe his wife now, Angel, I believe she moved to Florida after his death. I believe she's living with Philip, her son. And I wish him all the best, all of them. And I hope Philip, if he gets to write the book, I hope he gets a deal. And I hope that, because I know because I listened to a broadcast. It was on YouTube, and I forgot whose it was. But this guy Mateo or something like that, he admitted that after everything else was exhausted, even the FBI knows where he is. They just don't know what part, and they're not going to dig up 80 or 100 acres.
Yeah, it's too costly.
So I think this is a story that should be told and end the mystery, because even Michael Franchise, who you'd think would be right in the end during them years, he seems to think he's someplace, and I think his words were, well, where he is, it's kind of wet. So he believes that maybe they threw him in the ocean.
Well, that sounds good, but every crew, they don't tell each other what they do, because you can't.
Well,
the
movie The Irishman, the whole world knew that was bullshit. That guy Sheehan, he had nothing to do with it. He was friends with Hoffa, but he had nothing to do with it. the whole world knew that, and they even told De Niro before he made the movie. This guy Medina, I think, had a meeting with him, and he says, "Look, I could prove that Sheehan had nothing to do with this." But De Niro was so far involved with the movie that they just proceeded with that. But I really believe that the FBI, and so I hope Philip follows through with it. I think I saw on Facebook just the other day. I think he got engaged to. So I don't know if that's going to slow him up now, but I hope he tells the story, because it's a story that should be told. And who was closer to brother than his son? He had some brothers that I don't know if you
No,
knew.
his brother Mikey. Yeah, his brother Mikey I was friends with too. Yeah.
So that's the brother Moscato story. And I wish I knew the guy who investigated all of this and finally, after all these years, come to the conclusion that he was shipped here by trailer truck cross country in a 55-gallon drum, dumped at Moscato's landfill, and that's where he is. So I know I'm going to get 100 emails saying that I'm nuts and everything, but maybe Philip, his son, will tell the story. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in. If you like what you see, ring the bell and find out about more episodes that are coming up. And then hit like and subscribe. And thank you for tuning in, guys and ladies. Thank you.
See ya.
Good night now.